to our special coverage once again of the Axis My India exit poll for India today. We're 12 hours away and counting from the big day, verdict day of 2024. So all the excitement is slowly building up here.
You've had an opportunity to look at the big macro numbers. What we're going to do in this 1 hour is something very special. We've got some of India's sharpest pollsters with us in the India Today studios. We'll try and look at the polling data that you've seen on India Today and compare that with what Yashwant Deshmukh at C Voters worked out. Yashwant, welcome. We've got Sanjay Kumar from CSDS. Sanjay and his team have been doing face-to-face polling as well. We've got Rahul Verma from the Center for Policy Research, my colleague, and our partner Preeti Chaudhary is here. Preeti, welcome. We've got Rajat Sethi, and of course the one and only Pradeep Gupta practicing his dance steps, getting ready for tomorrow.
What happened to your purple t-shirt? You abandoned purple for what? Corporate look ban gaya. I called you purple pussycat and it went viral.
Yes, that's true, Rajdeep, and I'm holding back my purple t-shirt for tomorrow, the D-Day for all of us.
Arre baapre, purple t-shirt tomorrow, he's getting ready with his dance steps. Pradeep Gupta is all set. But Pradeep, either we could be dancing or we could have egg on our face.
People will be dancing on our heads. But anyway, all that said, let's get started. I want to take you through the poll of poll data, and then we'll ask Yashwant and Sanjay Kumar and our other guests about the differences that they see in the polling data that they've picked up from the polling data that India Today and Axis My India have put out. And we'll try and understand what can change, because people want to know, okay, we've seen your data, what can potentially change? So let's get started. I'll show you the poll of polls. This has our data, this has the polling data that's been put together by Yashwant, and also we'll have the vote share analysis by CSDS, and then we'll go around trying to understand how can the final numbers that come out on counting day potentially be different. So directionally, it seems that apart from Dainik Bhaskar, which starts at 281, everybody else says NDA will be 300 par for sure. The bare minimum seems to be about 353, which is C Voter. C Voter always considers themselves to be very conservative, especially when it comes to converting votes into seats. That's as far as NDA is concerned. The maximum extremity seems to be 401. 401 is Axis, 401 is also CNX, and today's Chanakya. So those are the pollsters which are saying that 400 par is possible. For the India Alliance, the lowest end of the range is 131, which is Axis, which is CNX is 109, Axis is 131, and it goes up to 182, which is by C Voter. So that's as far as the poll of polls is concerned. So let me put the first question to Yashwant Deshmukh. You think they could go up to 182, and you think that the NDA could be as low as 353. Explain from what you've seen and understood so far the differences between your polling and what your friend Pradeep Gupta is.
It's always like that only. You know, my job is to tell the lower end of the spectrum. His job is to tell the upper end of the spectrum. That's what it has always been. Sometimes.
Why is that? It's just like you're a more classical batsman. He's a utha ke batsman.
That's fine. That's fine because I have congratulated him many times, saying that you got the guts, you went ahead with that. But the thing is that I always, in any case, I have maintained my job is to pick up the vote share right. Number one, that's my gold standard. If I get the vote share wrong, I'm a bad pollster. So I have to first nail down my vote share. Vote to seat conversion is a different thing, and same vote share. If you give to Pradeep, me and Sanjay Bhai and 10 others, 10 psephrologists in the same vote share will give you 10 different seat share projections. So let's not get into that. Let's only stick to who is leading, who is winning, Rahul.
So there are some differences in the vote share calculations as well. Yashwant Deshmukh predicts for C Voter that the Congress's vote share will be 21.4.
Yeah, that's
which is broadly along what Pradeep is saying, but a little bit more, 0.4% more. You're saying that BJP will be at 38.9, which is about 1.1 lesser than what Axis is predicting, because their vote share calculation for the BJP is 40, so that's 1.1 less. So do you want to explain that?
Yes,
Yashwant, because last time was 19.5, this time you're giving the
conclave
Congress
when we were speaking,
Rahul,
remember I said that BJP will cross 40%. Actually, technically speaking, if you look into the state-wise vote share, you will feel like BJP is crossing easily 40%. But what has happened is that in all the BJP stronghold, where BJP is polling 50, 55, 60%, the turnout has dropped. So when you calculate the overall number of votes polled in the national level, the state like Bihar, state like Madhya Pradesh, state like UP, their weightage in the national vote share, the state's weightage has dropped. So if the state weightage has dropped, so overall in vote share, the BJP's vote share is kind of touch and go to...
And you need to add a caveat. Correct me if I'm wrong. Congress is contesting less seats this time than they were in 2019. So when I look at their vote share, which you're saying is fractionally more this time, right? It's gone up as per your poll fractionally more.
Yeah.
You've got to presumably also look at the fact that actually the Congress is contesting fewer seats. Doesn't that make a difference to the overall vote share that you're looking at?
But Rajdeep, the other side or flip side of that story is, for example, the Congress vote share, which is presumably going to get in UP, is not its vote share. It is Samajwadi Party vote share. Congress' own vote share in UP is only about 2%. So out of the 38% polls, which is going to poll, if Congress, between the 38% pie, Congress says that I am getting 12%, no, it is not Congress vote.
The point I'm making is effectively the Congress vote share is more or less the same.
It is the same.
It's more or less the same.
It's only 2%.
It's going up 2% because on they are piggy riding the vote
It's got
share
the benefit of various allies. Yes, Rahul Verma.
So the reason the vote share is going up because they are contesting in lesser seats, and in those lesser seats they are getting the vote share of their allies. Right? So that's why it's going marginally up.
That's a very important clarification, that if you see the Congress vote share go up and the Congress starts dancing that our vote share is up, our pundits are pointing out that it's also because they have stronger alliances this time than they did the last time round. The better way to look is pick the states where only the Congress is fighting, then you get a sense of whether they're actually
And also remember that with these vote shares, the BJP's vote share is effectively double. So you see the gap, when my principal adversary is getting double the vote share that I am, it also tells the big picture. You see, the Congress needed to get a 7-8% swing in its favor and the BJP to come conversely down by 7-8 to actually be in a contest. If these numbers hold, it proves, Rahul, which way directionally the polls are going.
In the last 10 years, all the issues of MOTN that we did for India Today, everywhere, every 6 months, I have been sharing 2 pointers. Narendra Modi's rating is 3 times of Rahul Gandhi and BJP's vote share is double of the Congress. That is it. And not even once in the last 10 years, that graph, barring the 4-month period of post-COVID too, there also, Narendra Modi, rather than twice Rahul Gandhi, was double Rahul Gandhi.
Okay, let's now come to the CSDS polling data. Remember, CSDS doesn't want to put out a seat share estimate because they believe, given the nature of their survey, that's not scientific. They want to stick to the vote share data. So I'll walk across and show you the CSDS data. This is done by Professor Sanjay Kumar and his team, and try and pick up what the CSDS, what the academics at CSDS have to say. So, according to CSDS, BJP's vote share is likely to be 40%. So that's along the lines of what Pradeep Gupta is saying. You're predicting a 3% straight increase. You're saying that the Congress's vote share could be at 23. So the CSDS vote share for the Congress is more than that of both Pradeep and Yashwant, because Yashwant was at 21.5, Pradeep was at 21. They're saying 23, and the others are as far as alliances are concerned. So, okay. Sanjay ji, do you want to explain why you think that the Congress could be up 3% from the last time and 40% for the BJP? Explain from what you've understood so far the differences between what you've picked up and what the other pollsters have picked up.
No, it would be very difficult for me to compare my polls with other pollsters because I haven't seen their polls in detail. But let me explain why I see BJP's vote share going up nationally, because the states where BJP seems to have increased its tally of vote share, and they will also increase the tally of seats, is the eastern coast and the southern state. West Bengal, Odisha, a massive increase in terms of vote share, and that will also get converted into seats. Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Kerala. These are the states where BJP is adding up to the vote share of what it polled in 2019. That's what explains why we see BJP's vote share going up. Remember, when we did the poll in early April, That time also the estimate for BJP was more or less the same, 40% we had estimated. Congress vote share, I think Rahul has already explained that there are constituencies because of the good alliances in some states that only Congress is contesting where there is no alliance partner. So Congress is also getting the advantage.
So the secret sauce of the CSDS polling mechanism is that unlike other pollsters who are obsessed on getting seats seats right, they focus more on a socio-economic profiling of the mood in the country. Now, how are people feeling? So why don't you give us some sample of the responses that you picked up and your assessment of the mood in the nation during your post-poll study?
I know the reason why we are not getting into this whole business of seat forecast because we operate with very small samples. Our estimated sample is 19,200. Our poll is still not complete. We are completing the poll.
So you want some of Pradeep ji's budget? Pradeep ji, bhai budget de do. Thoda sa achha sa bada. Academics should have bigger budgets.
But what's the thing which you have to appreciate, Rahul, that the three guys who actually do sampling on the ground are on your panel.
Correct.
All right, number one. And our vote share estimates are 1% between each other.
That's true.
Right. Now, anywhere in the world you go, 1% difference of the vote share between three polls.
So you are saying there's no, unlike what Congress is alleging, there is no conspiracy.
Actually, you haven't seen this in a long time. It's a healthy sign that you're getting three pollsters who've gone and done actual sampling on the ground, giving you broadly the same trend. You see, let's not take those who are what I call the fly-by-night operators, who sort of simply throw a number at you. At least those doing serious polling seem to have got a direction.
Let me explain to the viewers why we are not getting into this whole business of seat forecast. Because as I said, we are operate with very small samples. And unlike Pradeep ji, this small sample doesn't help us in understanding the constituency-wise mechanism. So that is why we try and abstain, because we would work out this seat sharing. If we want to do the seat forecasting, it will be worked on a projection model.
No, but you have lots of questions
where
people give answers about the mood on employment, which is not there because everybody else is trying to come back with vote and seat forecast.
We have asked several questions with regard to what contributes to BJP's victory. The questions were designed in such a way that if BJP registers a victory, that you are able to explain. I think Prime Minister Modi leading the campaign is a big factor. We have several questions of that kind, and a very sharp question on, do you think you have decided your vote keeping in mind who is going to be the Prime Minister? And one quarter, a little more than that, 27% of voters said, yes, that was the prime consideration.
That shows how presidential the election is getting.
I think it was, in fact,
just reflect on that.
It was actually more last time.
Of the respondents
it was 1/3 last time. 33% in your post poll last time had said they had voted for BJP.
That's a different question.
Post-poll.
That's a different question. We have asked that question also.
What was the number there? Who said they voted for the BJP only because it was the Prime Minister?
It will be, I assume it is going to be higher compared to the last time. We have
more than 33% also.
More than 33%.
So I think that is the significant finding. But just on this forecast point, because I think viewers need to understand, it's one thing getting vote share right. The real problem in India is getting your seat share transition from vote share. Rahul Verma,
but
I remember 2004.
To be honest.
In 2004, you all got, that's why you got the poll wrong. Sorry? Because in 2004, pollsters got it wrong because they were unable to extrapolate based on vote share who will get how many seats. I'm just wondering, Rahul, whether that is the real nightmare in India.
See, I think first let me, among the three pollsters, the kind of vote share you are getting is within the margin of error, right? So let's not even why it's 23, 22, 21. With this, you have a 2% margin of error. 23 means it could even be 25, it could even be 21. Second point, seat conversion always needs to account for three things: the winner's vote share, the runner's vote share, and what the distribution of all other players are. The reason 2004 was a difficult election to call is that at that point of time, Congress and BJP, the two main competitors, were very similar parties, right? Both were 150 seat parties, both were around 25% vote share, and so a couple of point swing here and there could give you results in different direction. Now what you have is, Congress is half of BJP in terms of vote share. So a 2 percentage point movement is not going to reverse the direction, right? So I think that's seat distribution is hard to figure out. Just one more number. Congress in 2014 and 2019 got 19% vote and got 44 and 52 seats. In 2009, BJP had 18% vote and had 118 seats. Right? So because BJP has a concentrated pockets of votes in Northwest, it can basically convert seats at a much higher rate. So whereas Congress vote share is spread, it needs much higher votes
just
to start
recap what we've heard, what's very consequential in a political context is that the Congress has been alleging that all these pollsters are getting instructions from BJP top brass. There are three separate teams, academics, private pollsters, all working independently and have come to virtually the same conclusion. I think that is, Pradeep Gupta, very significant because this is a narrative that we are likely to see when the actual results come out, that it is BJP. What did Rahul Gandhi say? Fantasy poll hai, Modi ka poll hai. Just because he's not winning, when they were winning in Telangana and Karnataka, they didn't have a problem. But right now they're calling it a fantasy poll.
अभी अंगूर थोड़े खट्टे हैं, 2 दिन में मीठे हो जाएंगे, थोड़ा सा उसको पकने दीजिए, तो सबको जवाब मिल जाएगा. Result के दिन, परिणाम के दिन.
So you will speak like Don now.
No, I am not speaking like that. I am saying if Rahul Gandhi जी की सोच समझ के चलते वो ये कह रहे हैं, खासकर कि एक्सेस माई इंडिया, इंडिया टुडे का पोल जो है वो मोदी पोल है, तो मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि उसका यदि ऐसा है तो उसका आंसर जो है कल 4 तारीख को मिल जाएगा. इतना मैं कह रहा हूँ.
यदि उनको
और यदि इनको खुशी मिलती है ये कहने में, तो मुझे उससे भी ज्यादा खुशी है उनको खुश देखने में.
एक मिनट लाइन गलत क्या बोली राहुल जी ने? उन्होंने बोला मोदी जी का फैंटेसी पोल है, उनके लिए नाइटमेरिश है. कर्नाटक का जो हमारा एग्जिट पोल था वो मोदी जी के लिए नाइटमेरिश था, राहुल जी के लिए फैंटेसी पोल था. तो ठीक ही है ना.
Yeah, but can I just point out that when you give these seat share variations, and the variations are actually not as much as they normally could be. Most of them are 350 plus. It's only the higher end.
No, even the vote share.
Only the Pradeep is going up to 400. Yeah. What explains those 30-40 seats? Is it that Yashwant Deshmukh is more conservative when he's translating that same vote share into seats? What is it, Pradeep, about your poll that generally you tend to see the higher side, you and today's Chanakya, if I may say so, rather than a midpoint?
See, our methodology is little different.
Seat by seat.
Yes, we don't rely on vote share conversion into seats. Rather, we go to each and every seats and whatever it is polled, that turns out to be the vote share for us, like the election
commission. If this is cricket, Pradeep Gupta bats like it's T20. Yashwant likes to bat like it's a one-day match. It's not test cricket, but it's like one day. It's one day versus...
I am not even, honestly speaking, I would call me a test match. I mean, I'm not even one day.
He wants to be Gavaskar. He doesn't want to be simply seen as Hardik Pandya. But Preeti had a question today, which she had sent me, which maybe Pradeep can answer. What was that? Because you sent me a graphic. Why don't you
look at the numbers?
Yes.
And I did think, and women are always difficult to poll. For somebody being a woman who's on ground and speaking with women, I understand that, especially in the rural belt and state by state, it changes. But to have a 31%, polling women and polling 70% men, and then extrapolating that data to a 50-50, do you think that could be a weak link?
Not at all. Definitely not. When I'm talking about our sample size of about 5,82,000, meaning even if for the sake of calculation you take 6 lakhs, 31% is roughly coming to 2 lakh women we are voting in the entire country, which is a sizable enough on the country level, on a consistency level also.
But Pradeep ji, the same did you poll the same in Bengal? Because you got that
every time. So
you polled 30% in Bengal.
We polled 30% in Bengal, but Bengal was a totally different election was done. Corona second wave at the peak in the April.
This was 2021.
Nobody was ready to come closer to us. Forget talking to us. Okay. Nobody was able to come. In my team, as many as 20, it was 5-phase poll, as many as 20 surveyors fall sick. They gone back.
So that was the 2021 story. But the story that what I want to ask Yashwant is that state variations. One of the more interesting dissections of your polls so far that I have seen from an external agency has been a group of academics in Karnataka called Edina, who got 2023 spot on. They got the exact number which you could get, and then they celebrated it. Now they are claiming exactly the reverse of what pollsters are saying about Karnataka. Could there be statewide variations? Is that in a Lok Sabha poll particularly, some hazard that you have, that in Maharashtra you may underpoll the BJP, in Karnataka you may have underpolled the Congress. It may well cancel each other out. BJP then ends up getting more seats in Maharashtra, fewer in Karnataka. Is that a possibility at all?
Rajdeep, hazards are there when the margin of the two parties is like 2 or 3%, like in West Bengal or like in Maharashtra for that matter. Hazards do not happen when the party, one section is leading over by 10% points.
You're also giving more than a double
Absolutely.
digit.
I'm not giving it today. I am giving the same number right from the Karnataka Assembly election exit poll.
Yes, sir.
Right from that day, that the same exit poll where I predicted Karnataka is swept by Congress, the same sample on that day said 10% on the reverse swing that we will be voting for the BJP in the Lok Sabha.
Okay, because his poll is giving a 14% edge to the BJP JDS. But yes, Rajat.
What I have experienced is that bipolar contests are fairly easy to predict. I mean, when you have a bipolar contest, you get the signals absolutely right, you get the margins absolutely right. You also know very well the difference, directions, even the seat projections is very right. What happens in a state like Maharashtra? You have 6 parties. Almost, I mean, BJP slightly has a greater presence, but remaining 5 are almost of the same size. 1 or 2% vote here and there can actually, and even the vote conversion, when you get into an alliance, converting vote from each other is very hard. For example, pick Yuti in Maharashtra. Would an NCP supporter or a voter go out and vote for BJP or not? Even ascertaining that, eliciting those responses post-poll without the fear of retribution is something which is hard. And that is where
Can I just ask one last question on this? That which is the most difficult state, therefore, to predict? Is it a quadrangular fight like we have in Punjab, where you've given a substantial vote share to the BJP? Is it Kerala, where the BJP is rising for the first time, but even Keralites are shocked that we are giving 25-26% vote share? I mean, editor of a leading Malayalam daily said, this would be a tectonic change in our politics if that is the kind of percentage. Is it more difficult, therefore, in a state where you have a party emerging for the first time? Is it a quadrangular? As Rajat says, bipolar, much easier?
See,
Pradeep?
Pradeep, please go ahead.
Which is the most difficult state for you this time?
Yeah. So for us, as long as we are able to talk to people freely, fearlessly, we don't see any problem or any difficulty to calling the election closer to the result. But wherever we find difficulty, like the case of Bengal, even this time today, at this time also, our friend in West Bengal, Indrajit Kundu, our correspondent, he has to bail out 2 times during this period in last 15 days from my people from police station. He has
So
bailed.
that fear factor.
That's the fear factor, and people also feel some fear factor to speak freely.
Yeah, but for me, the troubling, Kerala, for example, how do you get a new party which is Sunday? I mean, new in the sense BJP has never been 27%. You're giving, some polls are giving 2 to 4 seats. Others are saying you may well get a high vote share, but will you get seats? When will you start translating your vote share actually into seats in Kerala is a huge question.
Yeah, true. But 2 points. On the women, I think it's important to clarify that unless you can point out, so in polls it will always happen that some groups will be underrepresented. Unless you can suggest that there is one kind of women which might be voting very differently from other kind of women, it is okay. Right? Unless there is a group of women which is going to work very differently and you were not able to poll them, unless that's happening, extrapolation is not that big a problem. So extrapolations happen in polls always. Second point, to me, Maharashtra is going to be the hardest state to call. The reason is because somebody was telling me this anecdotal story, like women traveling in trains, where they're saying, "Humne Sahib ko vote kiya." Sahib meaning Sharad Pawar. But right, so because symbols have changed, they might be voting someone else and telling something else.
Can I just come in, because we talk about different states and women voting differently. It is a fact. Now, I've been across 5 states this election, and in all 5 states, women vote very differently. A woman in the same age group in Haryana and Rajasthan is voting very differently in the same age group than I find a woman in Madhya Pradesh or Uttar Pradesh. So my problem is this extrapolation.
Okay, so we worked very hard on multiple crosstabs, and I love this conversation and the energy in the studio, but we need to move on, okay? So what we did is we worked across the state-by-state breakup of the data in our poll to pick up some trends, and there are some good trends and bad trends depending on which side of the political aisle you are on. I'll start with the youth vote. So what we're about to show, Rajdeep, and this is quite significant, is that in states where the BJP is in power, there seems to be concern amongst the youth, where there seems to have been a fall in the relative vote share of the Bharatiya Janata Party. This is something that they'll be looking at quite carefully. Now remember, when you look at the India Alliance vote, in many states it's an alliance. So this is not just the Congress by itself, this is an alliance vote share, and last time it was Congress. So when you add it, do keep that in mind. But look more carefully at the BJP and NDA vote share. For example, in a state like Haryana, there's been a 13% fall in the vote share of the BJP amongst those who are in the age group of 18 to 25. This is quite significant because Haryana goes to polls in just a few months from now. In a state like Rajasthan, which the BJP won big recently, the polling data of Access My India suggests that there's been an 18% fall in the youth vote share. So yes, of course, the big numbers still stay, but when you get into the granularity amongst the youth in Haryana, there's an 18% move away from the BJP.
Rajasthan 18,
in Uttar
Haryana
Pradesh
13.
as well, there's a 4% move, but that's not so much, but a move nonetheless. In Delhi, there's a 4% move away from the BJP in comparison to the last time. In Haryana, 13%. In Maharashtra, 5%. And in overall terms, a 1% move. But in some of these states, Pradeep, like Rajasthan, like Uttar Pradesh, like Haryana, that's quite alarming. Why is this happening?
Okay, so I presume this is 18 to 25 years of age group.
Correct.
Youth, saying youth, even we classify youth as a up to 35, 25 to 35 category also. But this data is for 18 to 25. Let me clarify this. Now coming to the Rajasthan and Haryana, where there seems to be a substantial fall. See, youth is impatient. Youth want change on a rapid, fast speed. And youth has lots of aspirational value as against their older age of family member, because their needs are different, youth needs are different. So youth, generally tends to go against the kind of not anti-establishment.
Like Haryana and Rajasthan. These are states where it's a direct BJP versus Congress.
Correct.
So it's not really the India Alliance, it's the Congress which is gaining the
Yeah,
youth vote.
but these are also, Preeti, the states where there were paper leaks. These are the states where Agniveer has been an issue. But my point would be, I remember going to Rajasthan in the assembly elections, the same anger there was towards the Gehlot government. Because when you have a state election, you hold the state government responsible for your grievances. The moment you had a national election and you've got a state government of the same party,
but
whoever is in power, in 4 months, what has changed in Rajasthan? You've got a Congress government replaced by a BJP government. So my small submission would be, I would bet that the same voter in November, December would have said, or he told me certainly, yeah, Ashok Gehlot ki sarkar ki wajah se paper leak hua. Now they're blaming the BJP government.
Perspective is, these people who are 18 to 25 don't really remember the Manmohan Singh government, right? They have no clue. They're like, okay, I hear what you're saying. You've promised me a job. I'm waiting for my job. So they're impatient, and you can see some concern amongst them.
Impatient, yes. I understand paper leaks is an issue. I understand Agniveer is an issue. But across the country, there is one thing that you pick up. Polarization is not working with the 18 to 25 group. They do not like the Hindu-Muslim narrative.
That's a very important
point. They don't like it.
No, but with one distinction. You said there is an entire generation that has never seen a Manmohan Singh government. Go to Gujarat. An entire generation which from 1995 has only seen BJP. You see the youth there. They are firmly with Mr. Modi. You see, so there are state by state variation. No, not just regional sentiment. There's a sense you go to the BJP dominant states. Therefore, the distinction you should make, these are all states now where the BJP, you're right, has something to worry about, Rajat, compared to BJP dominant states like Gujarat.
That's certainly true, and I want to parse this data. This is highly relevant because these are the youngsters who go to public meetings and public rallies of the leaders. When you see so many young faces, it is the India Alliance leaders who get hope when they see so many youngsters filling in the public rallies.
I've been on field across 5 or 6 states.
What they're trying to
5 or 6 states I've been across, and this is the point I made on day one. When you see women standing behind Modi, I found it, I'm not saying impossible, very difficult to find someone under the age of 30 who did not criticize the BJP on the polarization matter, who was impatient, yes, Very few who went with the
Two points
age.
actually, very
Yes,
quickly, 2 points to make on the age distribution thing. I mean, it is in my data also.
Is the same?
And this is the same thing. And across all boards, as the age grows up, the gap between the BJP and the opposition also grows up. So number one. Number
So
two,
older people are voting more towards the BJP.
having said that, the odd and ironical part of it is the people who are bigger chunk of the actual voters on the voting day are the age group which grows up.
Correct.
The youngsters are lesser than their actual share of the electorate
Because
to
they
go out and
work.
vote. They just don't go and vote.
We need to move very quickly, Rahul. I have a lot of data to show if we get stuck on one, I might not be able to do it. Yes, Rahul, very quickly.
No, Rahul, to what extent, Rahul, Sanjay, and Sanjay has done surveys on this, is this generation affected by social media? What they see on Instagram, what they see on YouTube, is there an impact that it has?
There is an impact, but I think there is an important point what you are discussing here. See, political parties, when they are in power, will always lose some votes. So BJP is losing some votes among youth segment. What Pradeep is saying, that there is going to be dissatisfaction.
Anti-establishment.
Yes, but what is more important, as a political party, you have to be agile to keep looking for new voter base. What BJP has done since 2019, knowing that youth might be getting dissatisfied, they are replacing it with women.
Yeah, the
right?
NY factor. The
Sanjay Kumar, very quickly.
No, I think when Rahul was saying BJP is replacing them, I thought he is going to say by the lower sections of the society in terms of class.
Correct.
The sharpest shift for BJP support base I have seen between 2019 and 2024 is among the poor classes of voters.
More of them are voting for them?
Yes, there is a massive shift of the poor and the lower class voters.
So that's the Russian election.
That's the Russian election.
That's the Russian election.
The next data set that I want to come on, and why I'm slightly impatient, is we have a lot of ground to cover, and therefore we need to keep moving the needle, is to do with the Muslim vote. And what we're seeing in state after state is the complete consolidation behind typically the party that the Congress allies with. The move away earlier, for example, in a state like Uttar Pradesh, some part of the Muslim vote would also go to the BSP. Now that's no longer the case, collapsing more towards the Congress and the Samajwadi Party. So in a state like Uttar Pradesh, a massive 87% consolidation. That is extreme consolidation in favor of the India Alliance. The BSP, which in elections gone by used to have a fair chunk of the Muslim vote, now has a very negligible chunk of the Muslim vote. In a state like Bihar, for example, extreme polarization amongst the Muslims, 86%. That's up 16% from the last time. In a state like Assam, 77%, which is 7% up from the last time. And you can go across states. There are more states that we have which we can put out. For example, even in West Bengal, this time it's the Trinamool that's seeing a big consolidation. But in West Bengal, and this is something that Mamata Banerjee would be thinking about, 16% of the Muslim vote in our poll actually went to the Congress and the CPM. If this had come towards the TMC, and if she'd actually shared some seats with the Congress, maybe the result would have been different. So while in a state like Andhra Pradesh, the BJP made a lot of effort in getting the seat arithmetic right, the alliance arithmetic right, Mamata may have skipped some smart moves over there.
Because in the assembly election, she got almost like 88 out of 100 Muslim votes.
And in the overall tally, 76%, that's up 24% from the last time, consolidation of the Muslim vote. Now, the problem with this, Yashwant, is that it has a reverse anti-consolidation also. If all the Muslims come in one side, it kind of suits the BJP's purpose. This is because sare wahan de rahe hain vote.
Yes.
This happens, but there is also so much that you can, the marginal utility also reduces. I mean, 80% plus consolidation is always the case. So even if they go
No,
from
it's
80
not
to
always
90,
the case. It was 76% this time, which is 24% up from the last time.
Overall.
So it's a very big, in the
no, it
overall
depends
number.
also on the alliance. It did not go to the BJP. Look
No,
at
of course it won't
yeah,
go.
so it wouldn't have gone. It's like the mismanagement of India Alliance. That the root causes is the principal chart where you started this analysis with. It is the 19% which is with others, and the India Alliance project was in place to actually bring that 19 along with the Congress and
I'll give
India Alliance.
I'll give you a fascinating anecdote of it. Shiv Sena, original Hindutva party. Guess who a large number of voters who are voting for Shiv Sena? Muslims. If there is a Shiv Sena candidate against a BJP candidate, or Shiv Sena versus Shinde Sena, that is Shiv Sena UBT, you will find the Muslims, and we are finding that in Mumbai. You will go to a Muslim pocket and they say, nahi denge, Mashal ko is par vote denge. That's the interesting aspect. My belief is, I could be wrong, the Bharat Jodo Yatra consolidated Rahul Gandhi as the leading figure against Mr. Modi nationally. Particularly among minorities.
I beg to differ. I'll tell you why. I'll give you an example. I beg to differ and I'll tell you why. Because I think the Muslims are en masse moving towards whoever can defeat the BJP. And I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example in Uttar Pradesh, the seat of Nagina. You have a Chandrasekhar Azad, so it's a Muslim-dominated seat. I was there and I saw the Muslims wait till 3 o'clock. They were looking at kahan vote pad raha hai. They were going to vote the SP. Okay. But by 3 o'clock they realized vote ja raha hai Chandrasekhar Azad ko, and they all went and voted.
I do not deny. Stop a second. I do not deny that Muslims may well be looking for who wants to defeat. My limited point is, you can see that the Congress has, if there is any group where they have been able to consolidate the Muslim vote in the last couple of years, it is among Muslims. And that consolidation partly has to do with Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra. That Bharat Jodo Yatra convinced Muslims that on the one issue that Rahul Gandhi is unwilling to relent, unlike any other leader.
I'm not denying that. All I'm saying is the Muslims are looking at the best bet to defeat them.
The shift in Bengal and the fragmentation will be partly because in a national election, the Muslim may well see Rahul Gandhi as a figure in a way that he may not see.
But that's the hubris of Mamata Banerjee, that she didn't allow, that she thought she was stronger than she actually is. 16% of the Muslim vote in a state like West Bengal will make a difference. Gupta ji is already coming, come.
But Rahul, she thought the left would suss up the anti-incumbency. It worked the other way for her.
Just show him the Muslim
all India.
Yes, here it is.
No.
Come to the next slide.
Next slide. Yeah. So overall Muslim votes, here we are showing 24% up for the alliance, India alliance. The actual number for this is only for Congress 4% and all other alliance partners 20%. So this is the difference, and which is coming basically because this time we have included in TMC in India. You know, and
but you've also included Shiv Sena UBT in India.
Absolutely.
So please think about it. Please think about it, Pradeep Gupta, that a Shiv Sena UBT original Hindutva party is also getting the Muslim vote, not because of Shiv Sena UBT, but because the Congress is there.
Just because Shiv Sena UBT is the main contender against the BJP.
That's right.
They are not voting for Rahul Gandhi, they are voting to defeat Narendra Modi. It's a negative vote. Let's accept it. It's not a positive vote. They are voting to defeat.
Yes, but look at how far they moved in voting for a party like the Shiv Sena UBT.
1 second, just allow me to speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
About Mumbai, as you talk, we are from Mumbai, and in Mumbai, we can easily see that when we go and ask even for BMC vote, lots and lots meaning more than 60-70% Muslims are likely to vote in favor of Uddhav Shiv Sena.
But may I just add one small bit to it, which is that you actually have the fewest number of Muslim candidates ever in an Indian election from mainstream parties. In a state like Maharashtra, the Congress has not given a single Muslim. Why? That's the question to ask. The real question is, no Hindu today, or very few Hindus across the country, are willing to vote for a Muslim candidate. That's the question that we should be really asking as psephologists. Hindus will now vote for Hindus, Muslims will not vote for
Look at how Samajwadi Party is
Muslims
giving
will
tickets.
vote for UBT.
I agree
will
with you.
Hindus vote for a Muslim candidate? Why not? Naseem Khan, he mentioned, did not get the ticket for that reason. Sorry? Not so. 1980, Arif Mohammad Khan won a seat when he was the #1 candidate in Kanpur in a Hindu-dominated. Can it ever happen again?
No.
Can it ever happen again?
I think one big trend of...
Let's be honest now.
Yes, I think one big trend of like last 10 years is that perhaps turnout among Muslims are going down.
Why?
And because they think that even opposition parties, which should be nominating them, representing them, talking about them, do not do that.
I disagree.
Okay, let him...
You are right. Please complete your point.
So it will happen with any community. If you think that there are no backers of you, they are likely to basically start sitting behind.
Okay. But answer my question. Why in Kanpur today can Arif Mohammad Khan never win?
Why has Samajwadi Party reduced the Muslim representation?
They are not giving
because
tickets to
the whole
Muslims.
problem.
So answer my question. Why can an Arif Mohammad Khan like figure never win again in a Hindu-dominated constituency?
This is the evil of vote bank politics.
Who's practicing both sides?
No, it's the predominant.
Okay, come on.
Let's move on.
Both sides.
Let's move on. Okay, I want to show you. I want to show you a very fascinating insight, which comes by tabulating the smaller third front regional parties. If you see and if you plot it on a historical line graph, you will see that some of the regional forces have been hard hit in this election. So I'll start, for example, with the YSRCP, which is seen, the purple represents the YSRCP. So you see a fall in the YSRCP vote. Take the red, which represents the LDF in Kerala. The LDF vote share also coming down. The BSP vote share has been continuing to come down from 27% coming down to 8%. Take the AIADMK again coming down. The Biju Janata Dal in this poll coming down quite substantially. You can see the BJD in this saffron color. So what this suggests potentially, Sanjay Kumar, is that some of these parties are now struggling to find space. That as the BJP grows in states like Orissa, for example, the regional forces are becoming much weaker.
I think there are two factors. One, you have already mentioned, that if BJP is making inroads in all the states or majority of the states where regional parties' vote share has gone down. But also we should not forget that at least for some time it seemed that this is a two-headed race. In a sense, on one side you have the India Alliance, on the other side it is the NDA Alliance. So these are the regional parties which are unattached. So people may have thought that this is a national election, you are voting to elect the government for the country. So the preference for voting for the regional parties may have gone down in most of the states for which you have showing the data.
And you haven't used the party which has gone down the most. You have not used the two parties. One is BRS, Bharatiya Rashtra Samiti, is down by 28%, a party which ran a state for 10 years, Telangana. Who's the beneficiary? BJP. Just now Rajat mentioned Aam Aadmi Party. Do we treat Aam Aadmi Party national? Not really, because it's in Punjab, for example, if they lose as much as they do, you're again seeing, as Sanjay Kumar ji mentioned, in a national election, people are saying, do I want Narendra Modi ji or do I want someone opposed to Narendra Modi ji?
But what does this mean for a state like Odisha, where if the BJD loses this time and if Naveen Patnaik isn't in a position to be able to fight next time, then what happens? Where is the opposition?
But in my data, in assembly voting intention, BJD is leading over BJP.
In your
you're saying it is leading. So you're saying that
it is a neck and neck fight and BJD has an edge over BJP as far as assembly elections.
You see, that is the story, Rahul.
No, one second. Small edge, big edge.
It's roughly about 3% edge.
Vote share, seat share.
Vote share. मैंने seat share का भी उसको convert.
So Rahul,
honestly speaking, I was not doing the. Otherwise, I would have done that.
Rahul,
I'm just telling you.
No, actually, what Yashwant says.
जबरदस्ती 7% की lead है लोकसभा में. मतलब
No, you're saying assembly में 3%.
Assembly में BJD की मेरे डेटा में 3% की lead है. लोकसभा voting में 7% की lead है BJP की.
Sir, Rahul, this is the question of regional parties. Regional parties in a national election often get squeezed out. You're seeing that in state after state, a Mamata Banerjee probably would have a better chance if this was a Bengal election. As you're seeing with the Naveen Patnaik, as you're seeing with the left, you see the same Vijayan is perhaps a stronger contender. I'm not saying there is a Khatre ki Ghanti for the left front clearly in Kerala with the rise of the BJP. But he may have a better chance in a state election.
I'm making a different point, Rajdeep. As the BJP grows, Rahul Verma, in a state like Telangana, what happens to the BRS? As the BSP keeps collapsing in a state like Uttar Pradesh, then that whole vote share, which used to be about 20% at one point in time, that's all then up for grabs. BSP is becoming more and more irrelevant in the electoral context.
So if you look at history of Indian politics since 1950s, you have many parties contesting, but very few parties survive more than 2 or 3 election cycles. So those who survive, like Congress, BJP, they remain there. But once you move to position number 3, and there are 2 times you are at position number 3, then your revival story is very, very difficult. Assam Gan Parishad has never revived. BSP is less likely to revive. BRS is also less likely to revive. So once you move to position 3, 4, and that's the story of the Congress as well. In any state which Congress has moved to position 3 and 4, it has never revived in those states. Because then once you fall below 18-15% vote share threshold mark, then nobody considers you as a viable option. Yeah, unless you do something radical, right?
This was fun. We were able to cover a lot of ground, actually make some sense, rise above the tutu meme you see on other channels, and hopefully give you some sense of, there's so much effort going into that data, it has to be presented in a meaningful fashion, otherwise it's really suboptimal.